I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome back to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro. The right choice online at homerightwaynesboro.com. Our next guest is someone that really touched both me and Tiny, you and your foundation and your story. It's really, it's inspiring how you took something and made it into a positive, something that was obviously very tragic. So Marcie Taylor, I know you're the bereavement educator, but really this is your foundation.
It is.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Drew Michael Taylor Foundation? Who was Drew and how did this come to be?
Sure thing. Yeah, my son Drew was 3.5 when he passed away in a car accident. We were vacationing in the Outer Banks back in June of 2006, and an improperly loaded logging truck hit our family's minivan. So sadly, Drew died later that day. And like any bereaved parents, my husband and I were like, where do we go from here? What do we possibly do with this? So we knew we wanted to create a foundation in his name. We wanted to do good things, but we didn't really know much about them.
Yeah.
So over the years, in the beginning it was scholarships and awards, and we started a kindergarten readiness program in the Shippensburg School District called Ready, Set, Go. That was actually one of Drew's favorite things to play, Ready, Set, Go. He'd race people. But we realized pretty early on that there was a huge lack of support for grieving families like ours. In order to find support for our entire family unit, which included Drew's sister, who was 6 at the time he passed away, we had to go all the way to Harrisburg. Our choices would have been Harrisburg and York. So we're like, all these other things we're doing right now are really nice, but they don't make the life-changing impact on people that we wanted them to make. So we had gone to a place called Highmark Caring Place, which is a wonderful bereavement center in Harrisburg, but we said, can we beg, borrow, and steal the ideas that we've learned here and start this type of programming in our area for people in, Western Cumberland, Franklin, over into Fulton County. If they can drive, they can come to our programs, and they're going to come for free. So that's what we have founded ever since. We have fundraisers. We have a lot of wonderfully incredible individual donors, and they raise money so that we can provide grief education and support for children, teens, and adults who are grieving the death of a loved one.
And you have different sessions, right, available throughout the week. Can you walk us through those?
Sure thing. So we have our family program, which is for usually kids and grandkids 18 and under, and their family members who are grieving the death of a loved one. That program is called Drew's Hope, and it's offered 7 sessions every fall and spring at an elementary school on the campus of Shippensburg University. We have a lot of university volunteers that help us run that program as the students are learning to be future social workers and future counselors, which is great.
Sure.
But what a lot of people don't know that we do is we also offer 6 different groups for grieving adults. So many of them are on Thursday evenings. 1 is a daytime group every Wednesday morning. 2 are arts and crafts based. We just want to gather grievers together to connect with fellow grievers for validation, encouragement, and support. So we call it surrounding yourself with people that get it. So we have groups specific to bereaved spouses, bereaved parents. We have a group called Healing Together that is for anyone grieving the death of a loved one from any circumstance. And then 2 others are arts and crafts based groups.
And are some of the groups kind of like in a round table session where everybody kind of goes and speaks about their grief and what they're going through, and then connects in that way outside of just doing activities?
That's pretty much the model.
Okay.
Right. It's called a peer-led grief support model. So we will, if we have new people, we'll set down the ground rules. Like you can always say, I pass. We don't do something called, we don't should on each other, meaning we will never tell them what they should or shouldn't do, how they should or shouldn't feel, how long their grief should or shouldn't last.
Right.
That's just one of our main rules. So we do the ground rules, we do introductions, and then basically we go around and do a check-in. Like, what's been on your heart since the last time we've met, or if this is your first time, what's going on? Like, what do you want to talk about here? Because so often society is just not very grief sensitive. And a lot of people are saying a lot of things that can be very hurtful, judgy, and we don't want that for our grievers. So.
And I'm sure that, someone who has never been in a situation, you don't know what to say. And so I can imagine if I were trying to offer advice or support to someone who is in a situation, like you were in, I wouldn't know the right words, and I'm sure whatever I'm saying is not right. And so, because I have no idea, I can't empathize with that. I can sympathize and imagine how painful. So I can imagine that this is something that is just so beneficial in this community. Are there any other foundations or organizations like this since you started almost 20 years ago?
In our area,
yes.
Not specifically. Like there are a lot of churches will have Grief Share, which is faith-based. They have, I think, short videos and journal-type entries, and those can be very helpful to some people.
Sure.
There's a wonderful organization in Chambersburg called Sweet Grace Ministries that offers support for stillborn and infant loss and miscarriages, but nobody's really doing exactly what we're
you guys are doing.
Wow. Right.
Wow.
We're unique in that we are just trying to, really because it's a rural area, we're just trying to sort of be the all-encompassing space where grievers can surround themselves with people that get it. And really, ultimately, what we want is to empower grievers to then go forth and advocate for themselves. They will tell people, hey, when you said such and such, that wasn't really helpful. Here's how you could have said it better, or you could have been different in your approach. And I think as we go out and take the lessons we're learning from fellow grievers and from being supported and encouraged, it gives us a little more energy to face each day. And as we grow on that path, then we call it growing through grief. We can really educate people about how to be more sensitive as they meet grievers, which is just going to help us all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized that you are almost turning 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a big event next year for that celebration? Have you thought that far ahead?
We haven't gotten there yet.
No, I think that could be something that maybe we put our heads together, because that's a huge milestone. But I know you do have a big event coming up more in the recent what's the word I'm looking for? Recently, coming up soon. We have that will be an edit, by the way, called the Blue Butterfly Ball. Talk to me about what that means.
Okay, so the blue butterfly is the symbol for children's grief. There's an initiative called Children's Grief Awareness Day that takes place the third Thursday in November, and the symbol for that is a blue butterfly called hope.
I remember you telling me about this, yes.
So what happened quite a few years back is we had one of our grieving children, and a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of grieving children get bullied in schools because of the relationships that they don't have. So the Greencastle area has a really big daddy-daughter dance.
Breaks my heart.
And I think daddy-daughter dances are wonderful when you have those relationships to celebrate. But a child looked at one of our kids, knowing that their father had died, and said, "Are you going to the daddy-daughter dance?" And the mother called me.
To be hurtful.
To be hurtful. And the mom called me so distraught. And even though at many of these relationship-specific events, they will say, hey, you can bring whoever you want. You can bring grandpa, you can bring uncle. The title in and of itself implies who really that is designed for. So I think it's great when you have a mother-son tea and you have that relationship to celebrate. When you have a daddy-daughter dance and you can celebrate it. Because what a gift. What a blessing. But
yes.
What about those that don't? And where is the alternative event being offered?
Sure.
So we saw that was where the gap was, that there was no alternative event that could be more inclusive and that could welcome families that didn't fit the relationship-specific titles. So we started the Blue Butterfly Ball, a dance for grieving families and their supporters. So basically, any grieving family, and it does not matter what loss is being grieved. It does not have to be a father loss, a child loss. It's any grieving family, whether they're grieving grandparents, sibling, cousin, caregiver, favorite neighbor, whatever it is, they can come and just have a night where they can learn how to have fun again and not feel guilty about it, because that's really hard when you're grieving, to have fun again and not feel guilty oh, I shouldn't be having fun. My loved one has died. But grief and joy exist together, and we're trying to get families to understand, we can find joy, because that's the part of the healing process. But as we find joy, we can carry our loved one with us.
Sure. And so when is the dance?
Well, it's coming up really soon.
Okay.
We're here a little late in the game. But it is Sunday, June 1st. We always have this coming Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We always have it. It's an annual event between Mother's Day and Father's Day, because this is a really tough time of year for grieving families.
Sure.
We have it at a beautiful venue in Newburgh, Pennsylvania, called Heritage Restored Farm. The owners, Mark and Carlin Williams, are fabulous, and they allow us to have the space at no charge.
Wow.
It's beautiful. It's an indoor-outdoor wedding venue with a barn and an outdoor lawn, and so we will have a food truck from Lizzie's. We love Lizzie's.
They're so great.
We have outdoor lawn games like cornhole and giant checkerboard and things like that. We have a DJ and dancing. We have a tiara and crown making station. We have a photographer, because family pictures can be really tough.
Sure.
But again, when you are at an event really designed to help families honor and remember loved ones, it's easier to smile when you know why you're there and who you're there with. A bunch of other grieving families who are learning how to have fun and try to get past feeling guilty about that.
Wow, that's amazing. And it sounds like you really thought through every angle of it. What time is the dance?
It is from 5 to 8. And I actually forgot the most important part. So we have one of our local dance studios brings princesses to the ball. But it's the grieving princesses. So you will see Cinderella, you will see Belle, you will see Anna and Elsa. And they even created a Blue Butterfly Princess character specifically for our ball. So we thank the Heather Rose Dance Studio every year for the magic they provide. And then we also have Carlisle Ice Fest brings their queens to the ball as well. So there's lots of glittering tiaras, which really makes it magical for the kids in attendance.
Absolutely. And is there a cost associated with the event?
No.
Wow.
That is the mission. Our nonprofit constantly fundraises specifically so we can offer all of our programs at no charge for grieving families.
The food truck, I'm assuming that's for purchase, or is that's
it's all included.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we do have generous sponsors. Some of our board members have a company, Turner Hydraulics, out of Carlisle, and they basically have given a very generous donation that will foot the expenses. Now, we obviously will take donations.
Sure.
If people can, afford to pay for an event, but we never want to have people say, well, I can afford it or I can't.
Right.
We just want people to be able to come. But we
Support
have found, as they get to points in their life where they can pay it forward, many of them are generous in return to help continue to support the programs that we offer to our community.
How many years have you done the Blue Butterfly Ball?
It started prior to COVID. It was at the Orchards in Chambersburg in an indoor space around the time of Children's Grief Awareness Day.
Okay.
But as we came out of COVID, especially supporting grievers who have lost loved ones to COVID, we felt like we needed more of an indoor-outdoor venue. And
The weather makes a big difference. If it's
it
nice
does,
out,
yeah.
the sun is shining, it adds to the...
And we've been very lucky, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed, knock on wood, that we continue to be lucky. The skies look sunny this year, and we're hoping that continues, because we can obviously all fit in the barn and underneath, but it's a lot more fun when the kids can run around outside.
Well, it sounds like a very magical event. And again, I think it's incredible how you took something that is so difficult and so tragic and just turned it into something wonderful for other people, because I'm sure you hear that all the time, that you're really touching people's lives and helping them. So, thank you for what you do, and thanks for sharing that information. If somebody wanted to go and get more details on it, where would they find you?
They would go to our website, drewmichaeltaylor.org, and that would give our contact info. If they'd rather call the office and talk to somebody personally, they can do that.
Is there anything else about the ball or about the foundation that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that we get out there before we wrap up today?
I just thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about such an important topic.
Absolutely.
It really allows Drew to continue on into the future with us.
Yes.
We always said that his 3.5 years couldn't be enough. His impact on this world would need to live on, and it lives on through us. And that's what we try to help grievers understand. You don't get over the death of a loved one. You carry that love with you as you move forward and live a really good life.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're an inspiration, Marcie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thanks.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.